If you've ever talked to anyone about a particular round, the term stopping power has undoubtedly come up during the conversation. Now, you probably already know what this term means, but can it be quantified? Is there a mathematical formula to calculate it? That's what we're going to discuss today, so stay tuned. Welcome to the Hidden Homestead. My name is David, and today, as mentioned, we're going to go over the term stopping power. Now, if you don't already know, I am enrolled in SDI, Sonoran Dessert Institute, and every week we have to submit a video as part of our assignment, so I figured why not throw them on here on the YouTubeverse. I'm doing that because there's a lot of people that might be considering doing Sonoran Dessert Institute, and if I put out some of this coursework, maybe they can find these videos and say, it's for me, or no, I'll just watch some videos and get a little bit of information. Speaking of the little bit of information, keep in mind that I have to stay within the parameters of whatever the assignment is. So there's a couple of questions and I have to answer those. So we're not going to get too deep into the weeds on this topic because it is introduction to ballistics. So we're not going crazy detail right now. As I progress in the course, of course, we'll take on more detailed stuff. But for right now, we're just kind of getting our feet wet, I guess. So keep that in mind. Also, if you know someone that might benefit from this video or this information, consider sharing it. And if you like it, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. That helps out the channel. And if you've not already done so, if this is your first time or your 100th time, if you like the videos, consider hitting that subscribe button because that would be awesome of you. It's free, takes like less than a second, and it helps out the channel a whole lot, a whole lot, like a ton. Don't know why I did that weird accent just now, but I did. So let's go ahead. Nope, let's not get into the video. I'm sorry, this is a long introduction. The sponsor of today's video should be thanked, so thank you, thehiddenhomesteadstore.com. At thehiddenhomesteadstore.com, you can get hats, you can get shirts, you can get merch, you can get stuff and things we make in the workshop, and you can get beard oil. Go check it out. And if you use discount code thehiddenhomestead, you'll receive 10% off of your order. So thank you, thehiddenhomesteadstore.com, for sponsoring today's video. All right, let's go ahead and get into it. So some people will quantify stopping power by calculating the projectile's kinetic energy. Kinetic energy is calculated by taking half the mass of a projectile and multiplying it by its velocity squared. But stopping power isn't just about the energy a bullet has. If the bullet goes all the way through a target without dispersing any of that energy into the soft tissues, then the energy itself is arguably pointless. So in the mid-1900s, a big game hunter named John Taylor developed an equation known as the Taylor knockout formula, or TKF. This formula takes the weight of the bullet, multiplies it by the muzzle velocity, multiplies that number by the bullet diameter, and then it's all divided by 7,000. So let's use a 150 grain 308 bullet to figure all this out. The diameter in inches of a 7.62 millimeter projectile is 0.3, and it has a velocity of about 2,820 feet per second. So a 308 has a TKO value of 18.1. Now a 170 grain 30-30 moving at about 2,200 feet per second would have a TKO value of 16. So the higher the number equals better stopping power. So to answer the question, is there a mathematical formula to calculate stopping power? The answer is yes. But the real question is the formula accurate and does it matter? My answer to that is probably used to. Thanks to modern technology, we now have a far better understanding of terminal ballistics and the capability of creating very efficient projectiles combined with efficient propellants. So while the mass, size, and velocity all play a huge part in stopping power, I believe that a projectile's design and structure is more important. With that, and to answer the last part of the question, I don't believe that stopping power can be quantified by a mathematical equation because there's just so many different variables to consider. For example, shot placement. Let's take a projectile with a relatively low TKO value. If that projectile enters and exits the spine, then, well, you've probably incapacitated that animal, and therefore, technically, that round has a really good stopping power. So I would define stopping power as a high terminal ballistic value that incorporates all the variables we've discussed and can be shown through the use of ballistic gel instead of being mathematically equated. Self-defense and stopping power goes hand in hand. 20 to 30 years ago, the 9mm wasn't even considered a good cartridge for self-defense due to its relatively weak performance compared to the 45 ACP. But today, thanks to modern powders and bullet construction, the 9mm is one of the best self-defense cartridges available. Case in point, there's a video on here on YouTube by Vortex Nation. The two hosts basically go through a 10mm and a 9mm for grizzly defense. Now, when I seen and read that, I thought it was clickbait. Like, why would you compare those two? But they made some very good points. First of all, it obviously depends on what round you're going to be using. They were using for both. It was different weights, obviously, from 10mm to 9mm, but they were both buffalo bore outdoorsmen. Now, the 9mm is 147 grain flat nose, and it's plus P. I don't remember. I think the 10mm is like a 200 grain plus P. Same bullet construction, just different weight, different cartridge. But what was interesting, they shot it into a ballistic dummy head of a grizzly. So ballistic gel, the skull, the brain matter, all that stuff. And I understand that ballistic gel isn't an exact 1-to-1, but it does give us a pretty good medium to compare to. And this round, this 9mm round, performed pretty good. I mean, when I say pretty good, it would have definitely killed the grizzly. I mean, it entered and exited and caused a lot of damage. One of they tested the ballistic dummy, shot placement. I mean, they went through, I mean, it's like a half an hour long video, but they did run it through the paces. And what I found so interesting, and at the end, what they concluded was that in grizzly country, they would be comfortable with the buffalo bore round carrying a 9mm. And the reason they made that conclusion was because most people already have a 9mm, most people already carry a 9mm, and most people train and shoot 9mm already, so that platform is something that they're comfortable with and they already train with. That is going to allow them to be more accurate, to be faster on the draw, and probably faster at shooting it because it doesn't have as much recoil as the 10mm. And with that round, that outdoorsman plus P, it was more than capable of doing the job. I think there was only one or two that went in and didn't fully exit. All the 10mm fully exited. There was only two that didn't fully exit, and that's because it hit somewhere in the skull and kind of deflected. It started to come out, but it didn't all the way. Either way, it caused lots of damage. So that conclusion of the video was very interesting. I will link that down in the video in the description below, so you can check that out if you want to. I just thought it was a really interesting comparison, and to actually see it go into a grizzly skull was pretty interesting. All right, guys, hopefully you liked this video. If you did, hit that thumbs up button. If you didn't like it, go ahead and hit the thumbs down button, and then leave me a comment below why you think I'm so dumb. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, and we're also on Patreon. Thank you to my Patreons. I love you guys. Thank you so much for supporting this channel. If you've not already done so, if this is your first or 100th time, consider hitting that subscribe button, because man, that really helps the channel out a ton, like a whole lot, a lot of tons. Helps the channel out, takes less than a second, and it's free, so hit that subscribe button. I'm wanting to get my subscriber base up there, because that just shows YouTube that for whatever reason, people like me. I don't know why, but that's what it does. So anyway, that's all I got for you. Peace out. I love you guys.